Good afternoon and welcome to our webcast on managing a trading position in an ongoing trend. The latest in a series of live events produced by Trader Planet in collaboration with well-known industry speakers. Today is Thursday, July 8th. Thank you for joining us today. This is Darla Tuttle, your host for today's session, featuring Daryl Jobman, a senior analyst for TraderPlanet.com. Today's webcast takes place at a specific date and time, and therefore any opinions given by our presenter may change without notice at any time. Please keep in mind that trading involves substantial risk of loss and therefore may not be suitable for all investors, and past performance is not indicative of future results. We are recording this webcast and it will be posted on Trader Planet, so you will be able to review the material at a later time. You will also find previously recorded webcasts among our other free member education resources within our site at www.traderplanet.com. As one of our foremost trading educators, Daryl Jobman trades his own personal account and has been involved in the financial markets for more than 40 years. A decorated Vietnam War veteran, he was a newspaper farm editor and editor of several agricultural publications before becoming an editor of Futures magazine for more than 15 years. He has written and edited more than a dozen books and courses on trading. While his passion is helping others succeed by teaching the do's and don'ts of trading, his editorial contributions to Trader Planet has really allowed him to take that objective to a whole new level. We're pleased to have him with us today. Let's give a warm welcome to our friend, Daryl Jobman.
Thank you very much for that introduction, Donna. As usual, we need to start with a couple of housekeeping items before we get into the subject at hand today. And the first is an audio check. In the lower left corner of your screen, you'll see a little man has his beside him. If you are able to hear me, audio coming through clear and so forth, just click on I agree, and that puts a check mark in there and indicates that you are able to hear me. I'm coming through loud and clear, and I can proceed. Okay. Looks like we got a check there. Looks like we can go ahead and talk about the subject at hand. But a couple of more housekeeping items first. The first one is to indicate to you that we have a report that we're using, and CRB is providing the data for that software. They've been around a long time, so we don't have any issues about data or getting end-of-day data. Also, there are a couple of things to note about the page. You'll can put questions in there, ask those. I'll try to take care of those at the end of this. On screen pages and looking in the at the screens, the details and so forth, you might want to put your computer in full screen mode because that'll help you pick up the detail a little bit more easily. Well, now today we're talking about a trend type of trading. In the recent webinars we have talked a little bit about kind of trying to find your style of trading and what it is that you might do and how risk is a factor in determining all that. But today we kind of have come to the kind of an arbitrary conclusion that we will be a longer term trend trader, and we want to ride that trend. We want to manage that flow. The first point I think we really need to point out is that the start of a trend is not so easy to identify always, and it may not always be getting you in at the right point. You'll see the trend lots of times, lots of noise. It's difficult to determine which move is the real trend. Is this the real start, or is this kind of like a little fake and then start and so forth? As you know, if you are experienced with the markets at all, the market's job is to keep as few participating in a trend as possible. So if you are in a good trend, you have already accomplished one of the most important tools of the trend. I say on there, if you have caught a trend, be thankful that you have caught that trend. Now what you would like to do is to be able to manage that trend and work it for as much profit as you possibly can. When you manage a trend position, there are a lot of different ways that I've shown there that you can use to determine if you're going to stay in a trend, you're going to get out of a trend or whatever. Of course, there are a lot of traditional types of things like trend lines, trend line channels that the market trades within. You have trailing stops that can take you out depending upon what your stops at key chart lows, key chart highs. All of these types of things are able to keep you in trends and kind of help you manage a trend without taking on too much risk. We also have some indicators based upon moving averages. Then you get down into the kind of the psychological factors, I would say, and that is what kind of drawdown can you take? If the market is in a trend, it is moving up, it starts to move back down, or what kind of drawdown are you willing to accept? That kind of comes to a personal decision as to what you can do with your size account and your personality, your style of trading. In some cases, you know, with a trending position, it's a good idea to set some profit targets and maybe make that part of your whole trend following plan. Along the way, you take a few profits, you feel a little bit better, but it's not made of reference for taking profits. Again, not to overemphasize it, but you need to know your risk as you move through the trend. You have to know where you're at. You have to know how much risk you're taking when you enter a position and when you stay in a position. And then when you do have your plan kind of in place as to how you're going to follow all of these different types of rules, then you have to follow your rules. It doesn't do any good to set up some kind of rules if you don't follow them and follow them fairly carefully. Now, there are a lot of things when you look at a trend. If you look on a chart, it's fairly obvious. You know, sometimes the market is, very clear. It's going up, it's going down. It's very clear. But that's not quite enough if we're talking about how we're going to trade a trend. We need to have some specific points of reference at which we are going to act and at which we are going to try to extend the profits if we can, or maybe get out because we've had enough. So I like to look at a tool that incorporates intermarket analysis into my trading. It can be very useful for short-term market forecast, but it also can be used for longer-term trading. I need to make clear, first of all, I am not a salesman. I do not sell the product. I do not receive money for products sold. I am just more interested in trading and in developing trading strategies. Vantage Point is a tool that I have found to be quite useful. There's lots of news as you go along. There's lots of developments, lots of things that come up. But the question always is, what does it mean for price action? Some of the forecasts that it provides, a short-term forecast, the key there is getting you into a market at the right price, and that is kind of the whole starting base for a trend-following type of program. Vantage Point is based upon intermarket analysis. As you know, fundamentals are important, traditional technical analysis is important, and just as important, kind of an extension of technical analysis is intermarket analysis, and that's on a target market that you are trading. In the Vantage Point software, the neural network process looks at the 25 markets that have the most influence on a target market and then uses that kind of analysis to provide a set and uses it to produce predictive indicators, most of which are based upon typical prices. The typical price is the average of